The guy up first. Who? The guy first. Who? The guy first. Who is on first? What are you asking me for? I'm asking you.
What is up, everybody? Thanks for listening to this episode of Who is on First. I'm with my good friends, Brian and Michael. Before we get started, I'm going to hit our Twitter, X, YouTube, and you can follow us at WOFBB Podcast. Leave some comments. We got a couple comments from Ryan, wrote back, so I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely.
Shout out to you because so far you're the only one.
Yeah, listening in and commenting.
Yes.
The double. Now we need to figure out some way we can get him to trifecta, right?
Although Michael just ignored all of it, so it doesn't really... Yeah.
Well, he didn't want to hear anything about
right.
the Cardinals.
Right. Yeah.
Cardinals who?
Fair. Man, you gave us shellac, and we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, we can't talk about that. It'll take the whole episode.
He's sitting over here all happy and excited and everything. Guys, let's jump into this. We're going to hit the Players of the Month for June, and I feel as though, I don't want to give everybody away, these are quite different for me. And I know we talk about that, but...
We'll see.
Yeah. I'm speaking for myself.
Some different names up there that
yeah. I will give you that. Yes.
Before we get going, you guys good? You guys doing all right?
I'm doing good. This will be a different episode. We may have to talk about it. I'm riding Cloud 9 right now after being able to interview Ozzie Smith this past week. Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than having the Wizard sit beside you and just talk baseball. So,
yeah, that was pretty cool.
You can't beat that.
Yeah. If you guys want to hear him or see him and see the goofy look on his face because of how giddy he was, you can find him on Livestream STL.
Yeah, Livestream STL. We were at the St. Louis Metro Collegiate All-Star Game, which Ozzie is an honorary chair. So he was there to award the MVP of the league and then took some time out to come up and talk to us because we were broadcasting the game.
Yeah. It was a good interview. Who else was there?
So we call him Wags. So he is one that I've worked with before. He works up at Lindenwood. He does a lot of their production stuff there. Works for ESPN Plus and some things as well. And so, I believe it's Wag Connect. Also has a podcast. You'll see it show up on Livestream STL if you're looking for it. So
make sure you guys check that out if you are itching to hear that interview. All right, let's jump into it. So, like we always do, we're going to do 3 players of the month, 3 starting pitchers of the month, relief pitcher of the month, and rookie of the month. So, Cap, get us going.
Where are we starting?
Player of the month.
Player of the month. So, honorable mentions for me.
Honorable mentions first.
Yeah, I'm going to start there. And the first one I have on here, and some people might get a little upset with me, but it's okay. They can be upset. You can comment about it. Is I'm going to put Riley Green of Detroit here. I know when you look at his numbers, I mean, he has produced tremendously this month. Mm-hmm. There are just some things I found myself this month, now that we've done it for multiple months, looking at more than just the numbers and on-field, like just that production side of things. I've been going back, watching more clips and just kind of seeing what they're doing, not only on the offensive side, but even defensively to impact the game a little bit for them. And so that's why he ended up on the honorable mention for me. But, I mean, I got to give him a shout-out. Dude's had one heck of a June.
Yeah, no joke.
But he's got a negative WAR, or defensive WAR.
That's what ultimately brought him down to just basically honorable mention.
I'll be honest, I'd take him. I'd put him on my team. So. Michael?
Yeah, no, my first honorable mention actually is from Tampa Bay, Brendan Lau. Tampa Bay is every year they just figure it out, man.
Yeah.
And that guy is one of the big parts of that.
Yeah.
Kind of the vet around the clubhouse these days. But yeah, his numbers pretty strong for the month. I think I had him at 337 batting average. 985 OPS from him is pretty solid. So yeah.
I feel like he's probably a trade deadline candidate too, because it's Tampa.
Maybe they're such a weird one to gauge.
It's super true.
Right.
I would say my one main honorable mention is Jeremy Pena.
Sure.
If he played the entire month, he probably would have made the list and been the top 3. But I gotta slack him just a little bit because he's missed. I mean, it's July right now, but he missed
He played
a
24
week.
games.
Yeah, I'd say he
man.
was pretty close.
Yeah, he played 24 games in the month. I mean, I know it's on the lower end of some of the guys, but don't give my boy trouble.
I mean, that's
he didn't make my
true.
top 3 either because of the same thing. I just wanted to give you trouble.
No. I think that's fair. I'm analyzing the games played on my list, and I'm like, oh shoot, that's kind of true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep him in the honorable mention category though. He's having a solid season. Sucks for him because if he'd be an MVP candidate.
He'd be in the conversation, no doubt, with the way he was performing.
Yeah.
His problem is he's got 2 just
Yeah, I mean,
juggernauts
right now,
ahead of him right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Being in the conversation though.
Yeah, that's what those guys
I'll
right now.
take it. Right?
Absolutely.
I would take it.
Yeah. All right, hit us off with number 3. Cap.
Number 3?
Yeah.
All right, so for me, this is going to be a Tampa Bay Rays guy, and I'm going to go with Yandy Diaz here.
I was going to be the only one.
No, that 400 average stood out to me. I mean, you don't see that a lot. I mean, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs for the month. There's just something special about him. And the same you talked about, Low, like, there's part of me that feels like they want to hang on to this guy, but then there's part of me that's like somebody is going to offer them
Something
a ridiculous amount, and he's going to end up being on a different team just because of how Tampa Bay works.
That's just how they do.
Yep.
But, I mean, what a time to show up, obviously, in June. Now, we'll see what he can do for the half of July before we start getting to that trade deadline talk to see if that all ramps up or stays the same. But, like, for me, just what he's been able to do, I mean, 40 hits in 1 month. That's pretty insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually had Yandy here as well, ironically. I got 2 Tampa guys here. But Diaz, his month was ridiculous. The only thing I wish the reason he's at 3 and not, up at 2 or 1 compared to some of these other guys is he got 5 home runs versus some of these other guys are
right.
Which he's not a big home run guy.
He's not. His walks pretty good. I think he had 11 walks last month. Only 14 strikeouts, which to me, that was what kept Riley Green out of mine. Outside of looking at the defensive side of things, is Riley Green had 29 strikeouts last month, comparatively to most of these other guys are underneath 20. So
almost 27 K rate.
Yeah,
27%.
Yeah.
So Yandy Diaz is that for me. I literally thought I was gonna be alone. The thing, I mean, all of your guys' stats obviously come together, but the WRC plus being at a 206, WRC plus is nuts. 106% above average. That's insane. Now, dude's having a great month. I would be interested to see what type of player I think he's going to get traded, just because it's the Rays and it's what they do. He's a pretty big defensive liability, and he's slow as well. Which is why he's kind of a singles merchant, sometimes a doubles merchant, but a dude that gets on base 46% of the time is.
I was going to say, the on base
insane.
percentage was crazy high. I will say the one thing about him is I think they value him much higher than they have some of these other guys on that team because his name's been on that trade block for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they don't
they have turned away from a lot of teams that have said they were kind of in on him, but their offers weren't strong enough for what Tampa Bay wanted for him. I don't know what it is about him that they're super high on, and maybe it's this. He's going to start surging and take it into the playoffs.
Contact rate.
You'll take that from a guy that can provide some power.
Right.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, only a 12% strikeout rate, which is that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Now for a high contact guy, I would say that's pretty standard. 15% I think is what's standard, but same reasons you guys said. Brian, what's your number 2?
All right, my number 2 here. This is where I wanted to put Pena, but I ultimately defaulted the same way. I felt like because he was out in injury, I was like, I'm not going to put him on the list, but I wanted him there just because of that. But I ended up going with Alejandro Kirk for Toronto.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I went there is he didn't have some of the massive numbers that we've seen. But when you look at just for the month, he had a defensive WAR of 5.5.
Sure.
And so you start to pair that idea of now, we didn't have, the high offense. I mean, he still hit 337 for the month. I mean,
we'll take that from a catcher all day.
A catcher standpoint. And then you pair that with the defense.
Yep.
And I was like, this is unreal. And now you've watched what it's meant for not just him, other players on Toronto have caught fire as well, but they've catapulted past New York and they're starting to build a lead in the East. They are. And that's like fascinating to me.
You would have I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say there was somebody in this room that really believed in Toronto before this season started. But no, I mean, that is honestly, it looked like they were falling off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they are just on fire right now.
I mean, we were talking about, obviously at the very beginning, do you trade Guerrero?
Right.
Do you trade Bichette? All of those pieces. And now they've just caught fire at the right time. Now you're thinking like, maybe I don't get rid of any of this. I mean, obviously,
go get
Guerrero,
some arms or something.
Right, has signed his deal. He's good. But it's like maybe we ride this out. Right, exactly. Yeah. That's what's crazy.
Springer's having an insane season,
too.
My
goodness.
He's on a run. That's why I said it's just starting to click. And you're right. Like now you're a couple arms away from being a legit contender running deep in the playoffs against Detroit.
And I don't think Springer's measure can really be measured until the playoffs.
Yes.
The amount of playoff experience that guy has, and he has been elite in the playoffs and clutch moments.
Yep.
And that Toronto team's going to need that because though a lot of these guys have been around for a while, they don't have a crazy amount of playoff experience comparatively to the teams like the Astros, the Yankees, and stuff. And so a guy like that in the clubhouse is going to pay big dividends.
And Guerrero has the times, I mean, small sample size, but the times that he's been in the playoffs, he's not hit at all.
No,
so.
And that takes the pressure off.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe I was swayed by team success to some degree of moving him up here. But like I said, when I saw the defensive war and then plus what he's doing on the offensive side as a catapult, I was like, he's earned it. So I'm putting him there.
Yeah, you won't get an argument from me from that aspect. The guy I threw in there, he's a favorite of mine. He never is healthy. Byron Buxton. The power is real. We're going to get to see it in the home run derby. I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, that's cool. As long as he bakes it.
As long as he can limp into the
right.
Yeah, right.
Please take it easy for like
Greg,
the next 6 to 10 days.
His walks, he had 14 walks last month. He only had 17 strikeouts, 310 average, 408 on base. His games played, like Pena, only at 24. That was the one thing that gave me a little hesitancy. But when Buxton's playing, that Minnesota team is just different. Yeah. They go from being a team that you look at that's like, oh, these guys are definitely sellers, to when Buxton is healthy, it seems like that team starts to click, get going. They just look different. And he's a guy that would be super interesting to see on a different roster.
I agree.
Does he stay healthier? It's one of those things. All these guys used to go out to the Angels. They just keep getting hurt. But on other rosters, for whatever reason, they stay healthy. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. But it feels like it's kind of like the Mike Trout syndrome. Like he just can't be out in center field.
No.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I wonder if he could get to a team where he doesn't have to play center field.
Yep.
They don't put him out there.
I mean, they've got a center field, like a true center fielder on their team right now, and they've got him playing left because
he wants to play center. That's why I said maybe it's a different conversation you could have if he gets to a contender that's really got an opportunity this year.
Yeah.
Where he goes, you know what, I will settle in left field or somewhere like that, and then he does stay healthy because he doesn't have the grind of center field.
Yeah.
Or a team that maybe can rotate him in the DH role a little bit more.
Yeah.
And he stays healthy and that bat plays.
Yeah.
It really does.
All day.
Yeah.
All day. And he's an excellent defender.
Yeah. I don't want to take it away. I think his injuries are freak because he plays so hard at times, but he's got to learn to check that up to some degree, but it may not be in him.
No, it's a fact.
I mean, Trout for however long, and now it's hurt. So I really had a tough time going back and forth and picking this one, but I'm going with Kirk as well. Pretty much the same exact reasons you did, which is annoying because
I thought you were going to be.
I thought I was going to be.
I told you.
Things that stuck out above what you said: 9.4% strikeout rate, which is absurdly low.
Yeah.
That's crazy. A sub 10%, that's nuts. Pretty just like a solid contact hitter, a really high doubles guy for a guy that's
Slow.
A little heavier set.
slow,
Yeah.
slow and bigger.
Got to learn to
He
unhook
looks
that
like your
trailer a little bit.
He
catcher.
does,
Right.
he
So you
does.
love it.
Moves
Right.
like his
He's a
traditional
smaller
catcher.
version of Pozo.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Just
the
not-
micro
You know what's
version.
That's
funny
right,
about
right.
that? When we watched him in that series, I went to his stat page and he's only 205 pounds.
He's not. It's just he's not a
Kirk,
tall in
he's
stature
a short
guy.
fella.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand that. I'm vertically challenged as well.
The thing that hurts Kirk for me is the plate appearances are small in comparison,
Yes.
but I mean his catcher goes
Yep.
back and forth. They don't have the DH room either. But the defensive WAR elevated him for me. Same thing you exactly said. So moving on, number one.
I'm going to throw out a name. This is not my number one, but Joe Adell needs to be
Yes.
recognized
Yeah,
as
he
well
does.
for the
100% agree.
Angels. I mean, what he's done. There were a couple Angels that kind of started to
Snuck in
surface a
there.
little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that I was like, oh man, I did not see that coming. But it worked out. I ended up landing with the same guy as last month in Cal Raleigh, the big dumper. I mean, and it's for the same reasons that we talk about Kirk. I mean, in the sense he's still got the power. I mean, tied for the most home runs in the AL in the month with 11. That was Joe Adell. That's why I wanted to mention him.
Right.
You know, he's right there, 27 RBIs, which is
Machine.
insane. I mean, you're talking about an RBI a game almost is what's going on. Still hitting 300.
More than almost 26
Yeah, I was gonna
games.
say,
Oh, 26 games. Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking a 30-day cycle, but they
Yeah.
didn't
Right,
play
right. Yeah.
those. So, and then again, he's catching every day. Like that's the other thing. I mean, think about that. 26 games in a month, he's behind the plate for the majority of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they're not using him as at DH as often as you would think.
And he's an elite catcher.
Yeah. You can't. That's
Like,
the thing.
he
You
is an
can't put
elite
him
catcher.
at DH because of the defensive prowess that he is on display. I mean, again, you're talking about, and we kind of maybe had mentioned this before, but you're talking about putting the defensive skill set of a Yadier Molina with the offensive production of like a Buster Posey or Mike Piazza
Yeah.
in
I mean,
one
better
catcher.
Buster Posey because he's
right.
Posey wasn't a slugger.
No.
Right.
The
That's
same.
what I'm
He was an
saying.
average guy,
You put
yeah.
those three guys into one. This is what you're seeing this year from Raleigh. And it's like we are witnessing, at least to this point, and I pray he can hold it up.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
greatest offensive catching season might be mirrored with the greatest defensive catching season. Like you just don't see that pairing very often.
To put that in perspective, what Brian just said just gave me chills. Like, legitimately just gave me
Right.
chills because that guy has been unbelievable. It's unreal. I went Cal too, man. I mean, how are you going to go against this guy right now? He's every category is strong. He may not be the top, but he's in the top couple in every single category. I think the stat that is not talked about enough is the fact he's got 3 stolen bases in the last month. He's not a guy that you look at and you're like, oh, he's fleet of foot, very, very quick fella. Like
he's got that football frame.
he's got that football fullback frame.
Yes.
Might even borderline that like blocking tight end frame.
No, I mean everything he does is 16 walks strong, 22 strikeouts, a little higher than a couple of the other guys, but his OPS over 1,000. Like everything he does, great. I think his WAR was like 2.1 defensively.
Yeah.
For the month. Like
Yeah.
none of these other guys are touching these
Right.
stats. Like he is phenomenal. And as I look at Judge and I'm like, how is he going to catch Judge? Because I look at it and everybody looks at WAR right now,
Yeah.
And Judge's WAR is absolutely unbelievable because of his average and his on-base percentage.
total, yeah.
Like
Right.
it's like 6 point something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, and I think Raleigh's at like 4.9 or something. It's awesome, great. But I'm like, Judge is having such a great season himself, but it's just so hard not to look at Raleigh and just be like, okay, this is a different season. You know, this is not a year like Judge has had a couple years like this. You know, obviously his average is a little higher than what we've seen in some years past, but this year Raleigh is doing something that we have not seen, and it
Right.
is that special.
Yeah. It goes back to like kind of the summer of '98 to a degree, like where you had McGuire and Sosa going at each other. I mean, it's just fun to watch again, and I find myself staying up late
100%
to
agree.
watch the West
I've
Coast
watched more
games.
Mariners games
Right.
this year than I probably have in the last 5.
I mean, and the 2 home run leaders of the month and Joe Adele and Kyle Raleigh going at it in the same division. Maybe that's the new.
Hey,
Watch out.
We'll see, right?
I mean, yeah, the same for me. I don't want to belabor the point, but yeah, he's pretty good.
I mean, we mentioned him by name, but I'll take a breath for a moment because Judge didn't make
Anybody's
any of
list.
that. It wasn't even
I mean, yeah,
an
but that's the
honorable
normal
mention.
like June, July swoon. That it's just the Yankees just don't know how to play baseball in the summer.
That just
like the dead of the summer.
I mean, 253, 9 home runs. You'd take that out of most players,
yes,
right?
correct.
Like, don't get me wrong. That's for Judge this month or in June, but like to
Right.
think like now it's got me thinking too. It's like how great were the other months at the
Correct.
simple fact that he could have a month like
Well,
this and
he
still
was
be
batting-
up
he's
there.
Still batting
400.
like 360 right,
Right,
now. Like,
yeah.
that's
Right.
ridiculous.
for a month of batting 250.
But month of 250, and he's still batting 360.
I mean,
is-
it's because and was it May that he was batting like 412
Yeah.
or 406?
Right.
yeah, it's ridiculously high.
Yeah, come
And,
on now.
Just one last point on the Judge thing I saw earlier this week. It blew my mind. Aaron Judge now has more career home runs than Bryce Harper does. And I'm like, how is that even possible?
Right.
Because Bryce Harper's been a phenomenal power hitter his entire career. But Aaron Judge, since he's been in the league, has just been a
it's
different
just-
degree of hitter.
It's just the size of his frame is just like I was watching a video that was breaking down a swing, and it talked about how Judge is literally the only human on the planet that could have a swing like that and produce because he's so dang strong.
Yep.
Because his swing is so it's so compact, but it's so light. And it's just like the ball
Gosh,
just
it's beautiful.
it is beautiful. The ball just flies, but he is so strong.
Yep.
I mean, he's in Yankee Stadium and he does hit a lot of opposite, but still.
We've seen a
He
lot
makes
of
high contact.
big guys play the game though, but
Like 6'7" guys though?
we've seen some 6'5", 6'6". I mean,
Yeah.
that's still a very large human, but
A lot of pitchers.
nobody that comes to mind, just off the top of my head, that has his type of size. You look at it and you're just like, I don't want to see this guy because, yeah, his strike zone is larger, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, anywhere you put this ball, he's going to crank it. So you just better hope you get one of those lucky at-bats.
Yeah. That's a solid sweep on, I guess, just the first one.
Just the first.
Yeah, just the first one. All right, let's move on to the starting pitchers. This one was great. So I actually, like, legit, quote me on this. I think we're going to be all a little bit different.
Oh, I would agree with that. I mean, we say it. We'll see what happens. But so
right, start us off.
So for me, 2 honorable mentions I'll throw out in one, and I'll make it quick. It's just Max Fried, and then I also have Framber Valdez on the list. Both of those guys didn't quite crack it for me, but I mean, put in exceptional months. I mean, Framber 174, 31 innings pitched. I mean, a whip of .93. I mean, jeez. And I mean, and then you just say Max Fried, .88 whip.
Yep.
So, like, even better. And just to put it in context for some of our listeners, a 1 whip is considered elite.
Yep.
Okay. 1.3 is above average.
Yeah, especially for a starter.
Right. Reliever's totally different on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the starter. So if it's a 1, it's elite level. And these guys are better than elite in a month. Like, okay, so stupid. But they still only made my honorable mention.
This list, and it's been like this every month for us too in this AL. Like this group, there's a few guys you see their names popping up regularly, but Valdez was my guy. I called out for the month just for the same reasons Brian just did. Also, he's on my fantasy baseball team, and he's been lights out. So
Extra win.
Yeah, it's a win-win for me. So yeah, Mr. Valdez.
My honorable mention was Tariq Skubal,
Don't hate it.
I also don't hate that.
which means he didn't quite make it because of somebody else, but if you asked me who the most fun pitcher is to watch, it's Tariq Skubal.
Yep.
He didn't make
just-
my list at all, just so you know.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually kind of surprising. Ooh, I feel good about what I said right before we started then. I just think he's one of those guys. He's got electric stuff, got a great personality. Really fun to just watch battle hitters. Doesn't take things personally, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't get in tiffs with players, which is fine. I mean, it's competition's part of the game, right? I mean, I'm all in favor for, the old days of the Yankees and Boston just like hitting each other because it's fun. But he's just he's so much fun, and he had a great month, and it's sad that he didn't make the list. But hit us up with number 3.
All right, for me, number 3 is Garrett Crochet of Boston. I put him here 4-0, and I know wins and losses don't really matter a whole lot in 6 starts, especially for starters. But, I mean, just a simple fact, 290, 40 innings. So I believe, I could be wrong on that, but of the tops that I had, that was the most innings pitched of any of the starters for the month in that regard. And so, I mean, that's just telling me he's getting deep into games. Strikeouts were stupid. He had 55 strikeouts in the month. I mean, that's crazy. For me, I think he gave up some runs. He had some moments where it didn't look so clean. That's what made him 3 for me. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to recognize it because that's another team that's all of a sudden found something. Who would have thought trading Devers away would have unlocked something for a team, but they did. And
the Roman Empire is making his way.
Absolutely. He's starting to show up a little bit, so it's fun to watch.
What would be a side note, what would be wild is for all of our picks to be Boston, and it's a completely different team almost than how the season started.
Right. Who would have thought that they would have had to go through the crap that they went through and then trade Devers, and now they become the team that everybody thought they should be.
Yep.
For me, I went with Seth Lugo at 3.
Yeah,
really.
He actually had a very strong month. He did have some less innings than everybody else, which probably kept me from him being in my 2 slot. But he had a 1.26 ERA, only 28 innings, so definitely less innings pitched. He had 11 walks, which was a little higher than a couple guys, but kind of on par with some of these other guys. 31 strikeouts, whip 0.94, as we've kind of talked about. Under 1, elite stuff. Batting average against the guys at 162.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous. Interesting trade candidate I'm I'm seeing here with Mr. Lugo, because Kansas City is not the team that we thought they were.
Yeah, Jack Caplinger is just. I mean, it's too much pressure on a kid coming up, especially
he's gonna
when
have to have some time.
The whole team just doesn't have any power whatsoever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're 21 or 22." It's like,
come up and hit him out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's like Bobby struggled too.
Yeah.
His first year and stuff.
He struggled, but he's like still top
right
10 player.
Correct. Like,
they really needed Vinny to show up with some power this year.
Totally.
Pasquatch just isn't getting it done this year, and I think that's what accelerated Caglione coming up as quick as he did. I think they would have liked to him stay down, even though he was raking in AAA.
And Salvi took a step back.
Yeah,
I mean, he's getting older.
He's older.
Yeah,
right.
he's older. And he's catching more, which I think is kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess because Pac is healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my number 3, Framber Valdez. The thing that stuck out to me, because you made some really good points, has a really solid K/9 at 10-16, but no home runs in an entire month.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, especially for a guy that's kind of more of a ground ball pitcher.
Yes.
He obviously great strikeout numbers. I would take it.
But a fly ball pitcher, you mean?
I thought he was a ground ball pitcher.
Well, then if he's a ground ball pitcher, he wouldn't give up home runs.
I mean, look at the entire Cardinals rotation.
They're contact pitchers. I would not classify them as ground ball pitchers anymore.
Guys are pitcher machines.
No, you're good. I get what you're saying.
Ball in play a little bit of a kind of guy.
Yeah, 100%.
But super solid strikeout rate. Left on base percentage of 85.4. But yeah, no home runs, 1.7 ERA. That's great.
Oh,
and if you put on top of it Hunter Brown for the rotation, it's nasty.
Well, that's the piece for me that Valdez, and I think it's the piece probably that's held a lot of people back from him being the ace of a staff, is just you look at his stuff and you're like, he's not the ace of a staff, but he is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about clutch.
Mm-hmm.
He is so clutch.
He is clutch. Like
super clutch.
When you need him to win a game, playoffs, or
Doesn't
even in the regular season.
Was it last year?
Last year or the year before.
Yeah. there was one more point I had with him, but I'm forgetting what it is. But yeah,
He's sexy.
That's my number
He's
3.
just
Is that what
very
you were
good.
going to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. He's
At
very
least
good.
baseball stat-wise, he is.
Number 2.
Number 2 for me, this was going to be a fun one, but I think it's Jacob deGrom of Texas. And number 2, and like, might get a little pushback on that because he might be the best pitcher of the month, but for me, he just wasn't. I mean, when you look at the numbers, it's ridiculous. Again, we talk whip, 0.72, a 1.57 ER or average against, a 1.41 ERA. I mean, just I'm waiting. If I'm honest, I'm waiting for something to go
The
wrong
wheels
for
come
him.
off on it. Yeah.
But
Dude, I
he
think
has
I
just
don't
been
think it's
impressive.
gonna.
Right.
He dropped his velo.
He dropped his
4.
velo. Mets fans are bawling their eyes
Right.
out right now.
I'm like,
For real.
I'm looking at this going, if he can sustain this, I mean, he's back in, not saying he will win it, but he could potentially be back in the Cy Young conversation.
Yeah, I mean, he's
with
only
what
going up
he's
against one
doing.
guy. So
Right.
unless you think Max Fried has a shot at it.
No, I think there's another guy that's
There's
quietly
another guy
sneaking
that
in there.
I think also is
and it's going to be
He's
the
been in
next
my list
conversation.
every month.
Okay.
No,
I'm excited. It's getting spicy.
I actually agree with DeGrom at 2. A lot of the same reasons. He looks like the guy we saw in New York.
Yes.
Velo's a little different
During his
but-
Cy Young years.
during his Cy Young years, of course. But this is who Texas paid for.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy that just shuts teams down. And, you're going up there with zero confidence with a guy like this pitching. It's the kind of same thing as what Scooball's been the last 2 years there in Detroit. It's like most of the time the pitcher's got a little bit of an advantage. But when you see a guy like this that's just locked in like this, there's been a few guys I've seen over probably the last 10, 15 years where it's like, wow, this guy's just really locked in. Jake Arrieta, back when the Cubs were making their run, it's like, wow, Jacob deGrom went on a couple runs like that when he was in New York. And if he can get on that type of run again, I'd say you'd have to watch out for him for Cy Young because he will have a lower ERA than Scooball if he pitches at that rate.
Yeah.
Because Scooball's just got more speed, still more velocity left in there. He's going to give up some home runs from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk of 6 walks. And again, going back to your point from earlier, 0 home runs. So, I mean,
For any pitcher to have an entire month without a home run, that's pretty wild.
It is.
yeah.
That's
It is
pretty wild.
That means you are a true pitcher now.
Right.
You don't just throw the ball hard. You
Right.
are commanding the zone.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because somebody is going to run into one. You're going to make a mistake pitch at some point in the month that most often gets hit out of the park. And for these guys to not have that,
Yep.
Yeah.
that tells you.
Very impressive.
So my number 2 is Garrett Crochet. So I'm curious of your guys' date lineups because this is getting kind of confusing. But for me, so Garrett Crochet is one of my favorite pitchers to watch in general.
Yeah.
I love his wind up. I love everything about how he throws. The
A little
12.2,
bit of a homer take. It's okay.
100%.
No.
100% fully admit. And especially coming from a guy with last year was his first start.
Yeah.
First season starting, and it led the league last year in K per 9. I know this is June of 2025, but 12.2 K per 9 rate, 2.9 ERA. Yeah, he's giving us some contact, but the 40 innings pitched, 40.1, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Well, and if you
100%.
come at the end of the year and you tell me he's got a 2.9 ERA, I'll take that all day.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Especially
not-
with that
And I
strikeout.
kind of get the feeling. I mean, this might be homer take, and this might be too much. I feel like he's going to be a big game pitcher too.
I
He
can
just
see
kind
it.
of has that mentality. Like I watched that game when they faced the Yankees, and Judge went 0 for 4, and then the fifth one finally hit a home run, just because he got so stinking cocky.
Yep.
I feel like he reminds me of Nate Eovaldi
Yeah.
a little bit with mentality and everything. But so
Maybe why Boston went and got him.
Yeah.
Very true.
I wish
Still-
Nate Eovaldi is
yeah,
who I
it's-
wanted in 23
Yeah.
really bad. Hit as number 1.
All right. This is where my homer take comes in because I'm going to list the Houston, who I say is taking the ace, and that's Hunter Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, 1.19
Stud.
ERA, absolutely a 130 average against, the whip 0.82, 39 strikeouts. Did give up a couple home runs, but it doesn't matter to me. And like I said, that may be a little bit, of that homerish take. But just what he's been able to do has just been nothing but astounding. And that's the guy that I'm talking about that I think could potentially unseat Scooble this year just because of the way he is pitching.
I agree. Nope, I had Brown as well. He is the one guy, thinking back, that he has actually landed on my list every month so far, including Scooball just missed the list this month, who is still my pick for the Cy Young. But Hunter Brown has reached a new level this year. We saw it 2 years ago in some stretches that it was like, this kid's got some stuff.
Right.
Saw it last year. It's like, okay, this kid really does look like he's got some stuff. But he had some, rough patches here or there. Yeah. Brown's kind of avoiding those rough patches this year. And with Valdez, watch out, Houston.
That one,
you've got
punch.
A 1-2 punch of those two guys. All of a sudden, you're down 0-2 in a series real fast.
If the Colors ever figures it out,
they've got just they're the Dodgers that no one talks about.
Yep.
The Dodgers, they go pay for all these different guys, all these different arms and stuff. They just have unbelievable arms out there, man.
Right.
And Christian Javier.
Yeah.
And to be said again, they are doing all of this without Jordan.
Exactly. That's what's been impressive. Now, I want to see, again, can they continue it? Because now Pena's going to be out for some time.
Yep.
But
they're doing it without him.
Yeah. Right, and maybe we'll talk about it too.
They swept the Dodgers without him.
And this may be a little bit of a pain, so you may want to close your ears a little bit here, Michael. But like all of a sudden, Cam Smith's emergence.
Oh no, I 100% agree.
Is real.
I wanted to shake it off like when they made the deal. If Tucker does not re-sign, it's going to be a huge failure on the Cubs' part.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it's a win-win for this season. If you just look at this season,
Tucker's top. Couple in MVP voting.
He's not re-signing.
I've got to hold out hope. The Cubs have the money; they could re-sign him.
Right.
Oh, they totally do.
If they actually do it, which is highly unlikely. But I'll let you pan over to your top guy.
So DeGrom is mine. I
don't hate it.
You're not going to get an argument
the zero
there.
home run. Yeah, I mean the same reasons you guys. I would prefer a higher K per 9 rate, but again, a strikeout per 9 is
okay.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
It sucks that he's on a terrible team this year, which maybe that's, going back to the Mets days, maybe that's the key, like some
get him somewhere else.
Don't know.
All the pressure's off of him. He's just like a dog out there on the mound.
Could you imagine the haul you could potentially, I don't think he wants to go anywhere and they don't want to send him anywhere. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But could you imagine the haul you could get for him at the trade deadline right now?
You think? He's got a crazy contract.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
okay.
Look at like let's say the Yankees somehow get back on track.
Yep.
Yeah.
And need help pitching.
Yeah.
That says it all.
Okay,
the Cubs.
but if you're looking at Texas, who are you going to take, DeGrom or Eovaldi? Because I am 10 out of 10 times taking Eovaldi over Jacob DeGrom.
If it was me, I would flip both of those guys and go get younger if I was Texas.
100%.
Yes.
If you're not competing this year, which right now
it doesn't look like
it.
And Houston's starting to run away with that division.
Why not? I mean, there are teams that are in desperate need of starting pitching that are still in the fight that you could fleece their farm systems.
100%.
Totally.
For those two guys.
Yeah. Agreed. So the only reason Hunter Brown didn't make my list is because he only won one of the games.
He did.
Which I know win-loss for a first starting pitcher is a weird thing, but
it kind of goes to the Paul Skeens state there for me. That's why.
But it's the Astros.
I get it.
Not the Pirates.
I get it.
And now he's probably facing every team with where he is in the rotation. Their ace, So, but at the same time, it's the Astros, man.
Well, and
we'll see.
But it doesn't mean he was bad.
No, I know that.
Watching DeGrom back in New York is like, you got to be kidding me. Like, how does this guy have 10 wins at the end of the year? It's like, this dude is electric.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there are just certain pitchers that their just offense doesn't show up in the games that they pitch. Kyle Hendricks went through it for years in Chicago. Yeah. It's like, this dude's got a 2.3 ERA, and he lost the game.
Yeah, it's because he didn't play St. Louis.
Well, he played us more.
That's why I was really disappointed when they moved things around.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the relief pitchers. We just got one per, so we'll do relief and then rookies.
All right.
wrap the AL up.
All right. So my reliever of the month, couple real quick. Just I think Reed Detmers, who was a starter for the Angels, deserves some credit. He got moved to the bullpen, had a tremendous month. And then I'll throw Brian Abreu of Houston in there, but I ultimately settled on Aroldis Chapman as reliever of the month just because, I mean, the saves he's picking up. You know, I looked at his innings pitched, which I think were low, but that's because he's just coming in for the one inning, and he's doing the job.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just that simple.
52 years old. Or whatever.
Right. It's just that simple. I mean, he's still throwing gas over 100 miles an hour most of the time, and has just been electric for Boston in this run. So he got the nod for me as the reliever of the month.
Solid.
Yeah. Chapman's a weird dude. Like, when he first started in his
in more
career.
ways than one.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Like, when he first started, he's just this really tall, lanky kid, like, straight gas, like you said. And nobody threw like this dude did. And, you know, now every team's got a guy that can throw like that. But the fact of what he's doing at this point in his career, still throwing like that is
with no Tommy John.
Right.
You know, knock on wood for the guy. You know, hopefully nothing comes along. But
I think if he gets it at this point, he's just done. But I don't think he's going to get it, man. I mean, and it goes back to mechanics, right? But yeah.
Correct. So my honorable mention was Felix Bautista. Had a strong month.
Yeah.
But I ultimately went with Chapman as well. Just very strong month. Very, very strong month. A .36 whip is just so
Right.
crazy.
So I'm going to throw this out to you guys. What if Boston finds himself out of it? Which we have 2 weeks or so before, 2.5 weeks before the deadline that needs to decide to happen.
It's at the end of July.
Yes,
so you
okay,
got a
so
whole
3
month.
weeks.
We'll give it a month, yeah.
What if Chapman goes to Houston?
They don't need him.
That's
It'd be nice.
that's a luxury. I don't know what they'd have to give up.
Yeah.
Can you
That would be
imagine
the
that?
You have
challenge.
Hader and Chapman would just be a
Right.
stupid combination.
That's the only reason that I would say they wouldn't go after it is because you have Hader as the lefty and you got Abreu as the righty. Who, I mean, I at least mentioned Abreu
Right.
in this. I mean, and Hader hasn't been a slouch this
No.
month
He had 9
either.
saves this
right.
month alone.
So
Yeah.
it's like, that's the only thing that would make it a hesitant
Yeah.
decision
I could
for
see
me.
the Cubs going after him just because the magic.
I could
coming
see
back
Philly
around.
Philly,
making a stab at it if it's not going to cost
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
Because they're in desperate need of relief help and
100%.
especially back end relief
Yeah.
help.
That's not
because their starters have been great.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Well, that's for another episode. The next couple. So my honorable mentions are actually Josh Hader, saves leader, for the AL, and I think the NL. I think for all of baseball, actually.
Probably, yeah.
Dude, it's just he's not given up. He's not blown a save in the entire year so far. He's getting hit still, but he's not blowing saves. Kind of reminds me of Helsley last year.
Somehow figures it out.
But yeah, Chap and Hader's 14.49 is pretty nasty. Abreu was the other one just because of the K per 9. It's 16.7. But Chapman is mine. No runs
Yeah.
for the entire month. A FIP of .18. So it tells me his ERA and his FIP, his luck is matching up. He's so fun to watch too. He really is.
Yeah.
And as a personal Cardinals fan, I hate facing him because they can't hit him to save their life.
Yeah.
He's a lefty, and he throws 103.
That's
And
the new
it's like-
blueprint.
it's
Just
like
send a lefty
yeah,
out
exactly. It's kind of like the perfect storm of like he's just wild enough that throws you off, but he can spot like crazy at the same time too.
Yeah.
Makes me think of that Machado at bat where when he was on the Pirates last year, he threw like 102, 103 just on the inside corner, struck him out, and he was just like,
What do I do with it?
Laughed.
Yeah.
Right.
It is great. That was a clean sweep. Let's
Yeah.
move on to the rookie of the month.
All
Brian,
right.
you got-
This is where I think there might be a little bit difference, but I may be surprised here. Honorable mentions for me. I want to throw out Nick Kurtz for the Athletic.
yeah.
He's doing something. I think Jacob Wilson still got the Rookie of the Year on lock, and he's still kind of moving forward. Although this guy that I'm going to mention right here, I think is closing some ground, and that is going to be Houston once again. I'm going to throw out Cam Smith right here. I mean, what he did this month, batting .303, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs. He's filling a gap for a team that is running away with the West, and 2 of their big stars are down, and he's just kind of stepped into that role. He struggled a bit once he got there, got going, and now it seems like everything they were hoping he would be, he is becoming that. I do expect him to hit a little bit of a wall again, because some teams are going to adjust how they throw at him again. But my goodness, has it been fun to watch. And the little added bonus to me, again, Michael, plug your ears, is the fact that the Cubs just let this guy walk for a 1-year guy. And so, it may get them, deep in the playoffs this year, but man, it's going to hurt over the next couple of years when this guy becomes an absolute stud in Houston.
And it hurts a little bit right now too, because you're watching Matt Shaw go out there and he's putting the ball in play, he's not getting on base.
Right.
And
he's having a lot of bad luck.
It's like, man, you gotta be kidding me. Now his defense has been excellent.
Yeah.
But Cam Smith was a name that I just kept hearing.
Would you, going back now, would you flip that? Because I think they would have had interest in Shaw.
Yeah, you can't ask that question though, because it's not fair. Because Shaw's playing terrible, or hitting terrible.
But that's
and both of them were unknown.
The prospect, though, that's what I'm saying. Like the evaluation of the product, you got to give Shaw time, because
it's true.
I'm a Shaw fan. I picked him to be the NL Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
and I'm unfortunately been completely wrong on that to this point.
Yeah,
but I just wonder, because Houston was looking at third baseman.
Yep,
and I think they would have taken Shaw over Smith had they been given the opportunity. Now, again, that doesn't mean that Smith gets to play this year in Chicago, so it's a completely different story.
It begs the question too: would Shaw have hit better going in into a different system?
Potentially.
Right.
Now, I will say, I do think Shaw's going to pick up towards the back half of the season.
I agree.
Because he has had a lot of just bad luck early on in this. But I wonder, from the Houston perspective, if they saw Cam Smith higher than Matt Shaw.
Very well.
And I don't know that the Cubs didn't either, because I kept hearing this deal of Tucker was going to happen, but there was a piece holding it up. And I wonder if it was the Cubs were just like, we do not want to give this kid away. We'll give you this guy. No. This guy. No. Matt Shaw. No. It has to be Cam Smith.
Very well. So you're saying,
right? Because those were the 2 big gaps. Obviously, trading Tucker away, you have to get another outfielder.
Correct.
You don't have someone of that caliber. So, but third base and that were definitely 2 pieces. Obviously getting
and we filled the gap. Correct.
Right,
we filled the gap for both of them for him.
You could be absolutely right on that. I think maybe they evaluated Smith at a much higher.
I can tell you this much: Houston seems to just have some unbelievable scouting, so I could see that.
Right?
They have no farm system, but they can.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't
I was going to say they find a way to get those guys.
A wild wrinkle to throw into it. PCA could have been a trade candidate, because the season he came off last year was really bad.
Yeah.
So he might have been even cheaper to grab, if you think about it.
And that's funny, because
that is what
they
they're
needed
looking
a
for
center
right now.
fielder,
Yeah,
right.
A left center fielder.
Yeah.
Man, could you imagine? How different would that be for you guys?
I would have been absolutely gutted if I just watched PCA putting up this season in Houston right now. Even if we did get Tucker. No, Jacob Wilson can't go without being named any month this year. Guy's having a phenomenal year. I actually went with Kurtz as my guy. 7 bombs in the month. He's starting to figure some stuff out. Starting to approach that 270 mark, which if they can get that out of a youngster, I think he's a guy that could approach that 300 category on a semi-regular basis from what I saw from him in college and a little bit of his minor league stuff. The power was desperately needed there.
Yeah.
And it's obviously in a small ballpark that's gonna really play this year and next. But very solid month for Nick Kurtz.
Yeah, Wilson was my honorable mention as well, which it's kind of sad that he hasn't made the list. For me, hasn't made the main list, but Cam Smith is my pick. Above all, it's just the fact that he was an infielder and they put him in the outfield in his rookie year of making it the show, and he's like really good at it.
Yeah.
He's an athlete.
He is, very, very much so.
Yeah. He is the Jackson Merrill.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a good comp, actually.
Yeah.
That's a really good comp.
The right-handed side.
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, that's a really good comp.
That's why the Cubs didn't want to give him away.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Let's move on to the NL. So we'll jump over players of the month. Let's do an honorable mention for, let's start with you, Cap.
Honorable mention. So I'm going to throw out right here. My honorable mention is going to be Alec Burleson for St. Louis. I didn't really want to put him there, but I started looking at the numbers, over 300, had a solid, it pains me to say this because I didn't expect it. I like him now.
That is saying something too.
And he's really offensively kept us afloat.
True.
This month. If he didn't do some of the things he did, I think we'd be in worse position as a St. Louis fan than even we currently are.
Yeah.
And so that's why he went to my honorable mention. And I didn't want to be that type of a homer, but when I just started breaking it down, filling a role in right field with Walker going down, surprisingly might be the best thing for the Cardinals, honestly.
And he made some phenomenal plays
right
over the month, too.
Underrated defensive player. Yeah. I was nervous. I thought we were taking a step back. But he's really done some good things. And then obviously the bat is playing right now because he's doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Average, power, driving in runs, which is desperately needed for us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good pick. I approve of that one.
I actually don't hate that pick either because whenever I was there at Busch watching them play the Cubs, I looked up and I said, Burley's approaching 300 again.
Yeah.
Watch out for this guy.
And that's a true mark because last year, if you think about it, he's always been the high contact guy, but he just swings at garbage all the time.
Yep.
So his luck is just horrible.
Yeah, he's a weird player, man. I just don't. It's hard for me to. I'm like you. I look at him. I'm like, that is not a winning player, but he's
right.
He is showing up for you guys. So shout out to him, I guess. On that.
It pains me to say
he's the one guy that really may be listening to this too, because local guy. But dude, there were so many really solid players in this last month. I went back and forth on several different guys, just trying to land somewhere. And honestly, I didn't come to anybody because I couldn't rule out a couple guys for my honorable mentions.
Guys that you were thinking,
dude,
just throw out the names.
Yeah, Burley actually was on that list.
Yeah, right.
No, I had Ian Happ on here because he actually had a very strong month.
Yeah, he had some power
for the Cubs. His average is still struggling, but he also made some big plays.
What's average in 2025?
Correct. Made some big plays out in the outfield as well. But there's several guys that just, hey, dude, look at you. You're having a month.
Right.
Having a month. But my top three, I'm feeling pretty strong that they're just pretty consistent. Yeah.
Okay. So my quick honorable mentions for me, Michael Busch is one of them. It pains me to say, but
he did embarrass the Cardinals.
Yeah, he did.
And
this was
series.
This was before
right.
that series.
Right.
Where he was like what? Like
dude,
9 for 10 or something?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
He was 309
Yeah.
for the month of June.
Yeah. Two other ones, Wilson Contreras was a honorable mention for me. He put up a really good June as much as he's slumping at the start of July, put up a really good June when you look at his numbers. The other honorable mention is Max Muncy. Had a killer June.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And it sucks what happened right at the end of it.
Yeah.
But, man, 333 average for Max Muncy. He's supposed to be a 240 three outcomes guy. He had a 333 average.
Driving some runs, too, 24.
And think about where he was in April.
Yeah, exactly.
We were talking, this guy is a DFA
couldn't
candidate.
see.
Like, he literally was not
just
seeing
needed
a
glasses,
baseball.
man.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
needed
for
those
real.
specs.
Those are my quick three. So hit us with number 3.
All right, number 3 for me is going to be Ellie De La Cruz for Cincinnati. You do that because you have him on your list too?
Nope.
Oh, all
I think
right.
he's overrated.
I mean, 344 average is not overrated. 7 home runs, 17 RBIs, 1,000.083 OPS. I mean, I could go down the list. I mean, it just had a solid June. And so
it was good. It was really good.
Right. And so I'm with you. I kind of envision him more as ultimately a third baseman than a shortstop. I'm not always impressed with what I see out of him. Big swing and miss guy.
Yeah.
It's boom or bust a lot of times, but this month it was a lot of boom.
Yeah.
Put him in center field.
Could work.
That's what I would do. Michael, what do you got?
For me, it actually was Muncy. For a lot of the reasons that dude did not look like he could play baseball anymore. And to me, he was the
It was
guy.
a really strange
It
start
was
to the
super
season.
weird because he's always kind of been a guy that I looked at as like he's actually kind of that gear that runs that Dodgers team. When Muncy's playing well, that Dodgers team's really hot and hard to beat.
Yep.
Obviously, they've got 1,000 All-Stars on that team, but he's the guy that isn't the All-Star that plays very solid. But 333 average, I think it was like a 459 on base percentage, and I'm like, absolutely ridiculous. Unfortunate. Guy's going to be out like 6-8 weeks, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, I thought it was complete
I thought
tear.
ACL
I thought it was done.
torn.
Yeah.
100%.
And coinciding with the Dodgers just like slumping like crazy right now.
Big time. Really shows the value.
My number 3 is Ketel Marte. Just continues to be the the best second baseman.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
It's all good.
Best second baseman in the National League. Maybe all of baseball. 333 average, 650 slug, 190 WRC plus. Just crazy good numbers constantly, and a switch hitter on top of that.
Yeah.
Kind of a pretty decent strikeout rate, 19% strikeout rate, but just a solid guy. I was really surprised that he had a negative defensive WAR because I thought he's actually a really good fielder. So maybe just some bad picks, bad luck with the...
Could be. A lot of things can happen in a month.
Yep. That's your number 2.
All right, number 2 for me is going to be the Met, Juan Soto.
Okay.
And so I know as number
The
2, the Met.
The guy who wants to be a Yankee so bad right now.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. They're not looking very good
I was
either.
gonna say,
Well, yeah.
both New York teams struggling a bit. But I mean, again, 322, 11 home runs. I mean, 25 walks in a month.
Which that's his MO.
Right, I know.
That is who he is.
And it's just crazy that he can still hit for the average and 11 home runs while being walked and kind of pitched around to some degree.
Until someone's in
that.
a run and scoring position.
Well, hey, I mean, he still had
Somebody else
20
needs to step up. Come on.
RBIs, so I'm just saying.
Somebody else do it because...
There were a couple other thoughts I had here, but I mean, he's playing better in the month of June and as of now.
Yeah, he's definitely
solid
he's definitely
in
found
right
it again.
field. He's not going to be a defensive star for you, but he's doing his job. And so that's why he landed at 2 and not 1.
Yeah, no. I went back and forth on my 1 and 2 because of a lot of what you just said. But I ultimately ended up rolling with Soto for a lot of the reasons you just said.
We're going to have the same then.
Yeah, I'd say so. Soto is a guy that I don't know the statistics on, but I feel like he always starts real slow and then just starts going.
think so?
I feel like that's been the case in several seasons. You just hear about, oh, man, he's struggling. And then all of a sudden, late April, May, all of a sudden he starts to pick up. Maybe this year it was a little later than that. But that's a Mets team that this guy has to be the guy.
Yep.
There's a reason he
Right,
just got
right.
paid the contract he got paid. And like him or not, this guy is a supreme talent. The eye he has for taking walks is a superpower.
JJ Weatherholt.
That's for
They're
another
hoping.
conversation.
Sorry, I didn't
No,
mean to
you're
cut you
good.
off. Completely agree. I put him at number 2. Things that stuck out to me, the 722 slug is pretty ridiculous. For a guy that his calling card is OBP.
Yeah.
And his OBP was 474, so it's like,
Right.
that's pretty
I'll
pretty
take
crazy.
that today.
The
tomorrow.
229 WRC plus 2 is no slouch, like 129% above league average.
He's a good ball player.
Just a little bit.
That's crazy. 25 runs, 20 RBIs as well. And for one of the slowest guys in the league, had 2 stolen bases. Hey,
He did. He was
Hey.
caught stealing once. He tried for 3.
yeah.
He was hoping to get the big dumper, but he couldn't do it.
Hit us with the number 1.
I think we're all going to have this one. I think he's going to be a major trade candidate coming up. It's Arizona's Eugenio Suarez.
That's your guys' number one.
That is my number one.
Whoa.
I mean,
So, yeah.
315 average, 11 home runs, 27 RBIs, 728 slug, 354 on base.
Interesting.
1.082 OPS. I mean, dude just had a month. I mean, he wants to go play for a contender. He's going to get his opportunity because they are going to move him.
And he's always been a guy that kind of just produces too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of those guys, he's not your superstar, but he just produces. Now, part of that was he was in Cincinnati for a lot of years, so he racked up the home runs there. But no, we actually did go separate here because he probably should have been where Muncy was, truthfully. But Suarez did have a phenomenal month this month.
Yeah.
Gosh, I look at that team, I'm like, wow, if they had some of those pieces
Right.
that have been hurt, because Gallen's starting to pitch well again now too. They've got a really interesting trade deadline coming up.
They may go on a run again.
They
and
could.
You might see them sneak in.
They got the most stressful 3 weeks of probably any team. Right?
100%, because they
And
have
the Cardinals.
even with Corbin Burns out, I think they still have the talent that they could
100%.
could
get it done.
Well, if you think about
because the offense, to me, I look at them, they're almost as good as the Cubs offense.
Yeah. I'd say top.
Well, they went head to head in that one,
right.
crazy game.
Well, if you think about, they made the World Series, they didn't have Corbin Burns.
Correct. And if you can get Zach Gallen, basically just what he's been the last couple weeks,
he's got to figure it out.
Yeah,
That's
he's
key.
the piece.
Yep.
You get a couple other young arms and stuff, and then Pafat, or however you pronounce that dude's name. Like, he had some stretches 2 years ago where it's like, this dude is super good.
And I think he can get back there.
I agree. I hope so too. He's also on my fantasy team. No, I actually leaned into Ronald Acuna, and part of that was I felt like I had to.
I mean, I'm not going to hate on that. I mean, he didn't make my list, not because of who he is. I mean, Tim and I were talking before the game. I mean, I think I would trade some pieces if I could to get him.
It's super interesting with Acuna.
Would you take Tucker or Acuna?
I would take Tucker.
Same. Told you.
But we're not going to pay for Tucker, so that's a moot point. The
That's
contract of Acuna fits
Right now.
really, really well in St. Louis for the next 3-4 years.
He is electric.
No doubt.
On the field, because he is the same type of guy as like PCA. He's going to go make phenomenal plays on defense. He's going to make some elite hitting. He'll steal bags. Like, he's got the 75 tools that you need. But he's also been hurt twice with significant injuries.
Yeah, 2 ACLs.
Part of that is because he goes hard all the time he's out there on the field.
It's a Buxton again.
The reason I would take Tucker over him is Tucker's head. The brain inside of that guy just works differently than Acuna. Acuna is like...
And honestly, Tucker's a better defensive player too.
Correct.
Overall, yeah.
I think that the worst thing that Atlanta did was let Freddie Freeman go.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though they said that for some reason him and Acuna kind of butted heads a little bit from kind of reports that came out shortly thereafter. Acuna said, "Oh no, that's not true." But there were several reports coming out that him and Freeman weren't seeing eye to eye, and they obviously leaned into the kid that was like 25 at the time, versus the guy who's 30 or something.
Braves Braves are hurt ever since. Though.
But correct, they were the most talented team in baseball. Before Freddie Freeman walked out that door. And you brought in a guy like Matt Olson that has unbelievable power, phenomenal defender, but Freddie Freeman is clutch.
Yep.
He's always going to be around a 300 hitter, on-base percentage super high.
Quality leader.
And he's a leader. That's the big piece.
Sure.
I don't think Atlanta has that right now because Austin Riley's not that guy.
No.
Acuna's not that guy. Michael Harris, I don't see him as that guy. Olson's never been that guy either. And so it's like, who is the head of that? I don't know. I think the reason I leaned mostly into Acuna was because I looked at the stats and just went, this is ridiculous. And this is the reason why this guy's starting in the All-Star game, only having played like 5 games this season, is because of how phenomenal the stats look. I also was a little salty that he was starting in the All-Star game, but he is elite of elite across the board. his average was 360,
360, yeah.
on base percentage of 491.
Yeah.
Just like that's just ridiculous. His defensive WAR was horrendous. It was negative 2.5. But he still ended up with a positive WAR of 1.6 for the month because of how good he was.
Yeah. So that's my pick as well. Acuna Jr. was my number one.
All right.
First pitch, first game back, big bomb.
Oh yeah,
man.
that was.
He's an electric player too. To the point of the defensive WAR though, I think it's the thing that they talked about from coming into 22 is like they told him was like stop diving for plays, stop trying to make stuff because you're just gonna get hurt. So just let it roll past you, go pick it up and throw it. So you're
gonna throw him out anyway.
Correct. He's got to rock it.
Yeah. He's never going to be able to make those plays anymore just because he's trying to protect himself, which, I mean, you want to keep the player on the field.
Any smart franchise wants that.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy that won MVP getting 40 and 70 or something. I mean, Ohtani's great and all, but
there's a difference between Alec Burleson going and putting his body on the line versus Ronald Acuna. You're like, absolutely, I love it, Burley. Like, go get that ball. Acuna is running after that ball towards the wall. You're like, don't you dare. Pull up, brother. Pull up.
It's okay.
Yeah, we were talking earlier that he might be a trade candidate.
Burley?
No,
Acuna. No, I actually saw that too. Atlanta's package they're gonna want's got to be
for sure
high, but the money piece you can make.
That's what I said. I mean, what
really,
$17 million a year for the next 3 to 4 years?
Well, they're a team that's why I think it bothered me so much they let Freeman go was because they've made so many smart moves leading up to that point. It's like they signed Albies early. Been one of the best second basemen. Obviously, he's been down a little bit this year, but
and he makes like
the
$2
previous
million a year.
Harris.
He's
they did
been
the same
way
thing
above
with
Harris.
Right.
It's like Riley really for what he was kind of heading towards. And obviously he's been down a little bit. He was heading towards being one of those premier third basemen in the league. It's like, okay, well, this contract probably pays for itself. Acuna got him early, and it's like,
yeah, their position. I mean, we'll talk about this in different episodes in the month, but their position that they're in is just really weird because it doesn't make any sense because the roster itself is just crazy.
It's still great.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing with Arizona. It's just like, man, the roster is too good to be in the position that they're in.
Right. Now,
but something you never know what's going on inside.
Well, and with the Mets having slid a little bit, the Central's really weird. Is there a chance that Atlanta just gets hot, gets that Mets run? They have the talent.
Yeah, they got to get some starting pitching healthy again.
Correct.
That's going to be the big thing for them.
I mean, Strider's coming back. Like he almost made my honorable mention.
I mean, Sale's supposed to come back too. Yeah. I mean, they've got pieces,
but everybody's getting hurt.
Right.
So it's just like, all right, let's do starting pitchers. You got any honorable mentions?
Yeah, honorable mentions. I'll throw out 3 real quick. One, the aforementioned Chris Sale, before he got hurt. I think he would have been higher had he not got hurt, but that slid him down. I still want to shout out Paul Skeens. I mean, dude has been unbelievable, but the Pirates can't score for him and can't win games, so that's hurting him. And then I was surprising. I was looking at this, and I had to throw Sonny Gray into the mix for St. Louis just because of the month of June. I mean, he did have a solid month. One bad, I think, outing that he had really kind of lifted him up, and that's what kind of kept him out of the top 3.
Yeah. So I went with Logan Webb. ERA was probably a little higher than a couple other guys, but his innings pitched was significantly higher. He was right up there in that crochet area of 40 for the month. I think his whip was right around 1, and Skeens landed on that list for me as well. I just feel so bad for that guy. He's just such a good pitcher.
Right.
Dude.
They just can't win games, man. It's just so irritating.
The best.
But Logan Webb only had 7 walks the entire month. It's like with 40 innings pitched, I'm like, I'll take that all day.
Right.
And then Skeens, I think he had 11 with like 33 strikeouts or something along those lines. So it's like another very solid month, but they just don't win games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, dude only gave up 7 earned run. Like that's for Skeens right
Skeens,
there.
30 innings.
It's like the Pirates have given up the least amount of runs in the National League and are
scored
15 games under 500.
Yeah.
but and scored the least amount of runs at the same time.
Until they play us.
Put this pitching staff in Arizona. Arizona is leading the West right now.
100%.
And that's with the Dodgers out there. Arizona would be leading the West right now,
be
and it
running
would
away
probably
with it.
be a 10-game lead, probably.
And the Pirates are missing Jared Jones.
Yeah.
Arguably, they're probably the number
They're
two.
number 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
number
100%. That'll be their number 2.
Yeah. So honorable mentions for me, Matthew Boyd belongs on this list, 1.7 ERA. He's getting really lucky. He's got a FIP of 3.7, so that honestly that keeps him off the list for me.
He's just a dog.
Yeah, he is a dog. And good for him, being mid-30s, early 30s and finally
First
figuring it
All-Star
out.
nine.
Yep. The other honorable mention, Ranger Suarez with a 1.3 that's pretty good. Low K per 9 is what kept him off the list for me. And to your point, Brian, Sonny Gray, you said belongs on the list. Matthew Liberatore's got more WAR than Sonny Gray in the month of June.
Yeah, I could see it.
Eric Fetty has more WAR than Sonny Gray.
I would actually argue Eric Fetty should be on there for
No,
my
he
list
should not.
because he was phenomenal here
For
in
you
St.
guys,
Louis.
absolutely, 100%.
Homeboy's got 6 games started and he's 0-4.
Right. I think Ollie just needs to come out and say it, buddy. We're going to just DFA you, my friend.
I've never seen a guy that had 2 months ago so much trade value just
not
tank
have
it
anything.
so hard.
Right.
That's
right.
the Cardinals organization for you in 2025. Hit us up with number 3.
Number 3 is going to be the Philly, Christopher Sanchez. I think just
solid.
rocked it out. 33 strikeouts, only 6 walks. 34 innings pitched, 1.85 ERA. You keep going, but really that's just, a solid year.
Yeah.
Or not year, month. And it's ridiculous, the pitching that is in Philly right now.
Yeah. Well,
Except for their bullpen.
we're not even
Yeah.
talking one
Starting
of their
pitching.
two-headed monster isn't even having that type of year
Right.
either. So
And he's hurt right now.
Right. So it's like, what if he returns and he's that guy again? All of a sudden, that Philly team just looks.
4 deep in your starting
Wow.
pitching. Easy.
Yeah,
and you have very good offensive players too.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
What did we talk about last year? Like they've got 4 number 1s.
Yeah, legitimately on
Yeah.
most teams.
Yeah.
You talk about maybe even 5 in some degree if you're
Yeah.
looking at it in Wheeler. And then Sanchez is evolving. Suarez is
Yep.
right there. Nola is by far still quality guy. So,
I would still take Nola on my team.
Yeah,
even though he's
correct.
having
Right.
the season that he's having.
And
So-
they show up in the playoffs too.
Yes.
So
yeah.
That's why.
I went with Sanchez as well for basically every reason you just said. The whip always stands out to me. I'm a lot like Tim over here. The whip is a big mark for me. That .91 is tough to beat, but
Yeah.
it was beat by a couple guys. So a little foreshadowing.
We might be in the same run.
Yeah, I would
can
say probably
sense it.
so.
I'm not around either of you guys, so this is awesome. Skeens makes my number 3.
Okay.
The win-loss for starters, even though in the AL I said the same thing. It's like whatever.
Correct.
The .29 home run rate, our home run per 9 rate's disgusting. The other thing for me is the 2.05 ERA and the 2.43 FIP. He's doing exactly what he's doing. He's not getting bailed out or anything. The strikeout rate is kind of down, even
Still
though
is. Yeah, that's interesting.
it's still a 9.6.
Yeah, it's still good.
Which
Yeah.
is pretty good.
I still take it.
Yeah, he's having a great season. I think all of our number 1s are going to make this at the end of the season, but I still think Skeens has a good shot for the Cy Young,
I would agree.
which is my pick for the end of
We're
the
going
year.
to see a guy win the Cy Young with like 8 wins on the season.
It's very possible.
Yep.
And 8 may be highballing,
I was
honestly.
gonna say. So that'll be
The
interesting.
one fortunate thing he has going for him is there are a couple offenses in the NL Central that just go dead. That he may be able to
like
luckily.
the Cardinals.
Well, I wasn't going to call him out by name.
Although we've hit him well.
That's
saying.
true. You guys are the one team that
one
really
team,
has hit
right.
him. So
Number 2.
Number 2 for me is going to be Matthew Boyd in Chicago.
That's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
Right. I know what you're saying, with the expected. But there is something to it. Just the fact that he's just a dog. He's getting out there. He's performing. He's been what the Cubs really have needed from a starting pitching. I think it's a completely different look in the Central without him
Agreed.
on that roster.
Totally.
And so that's, and then again, the month of June, I mean, 0.79 whip, you said it. You know, I mean, just, it was ridiculous. I mean, the only downside for me is I'm sure the number one that is going to go across the board here was just stupid ridiculous.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, Boyd would have 100%. He had my vote after making that catch on that ball. That was like 105 back at him.
Off the dome.
And guy got hurt and still came back and threw an elite game that very next game out. So, no, Boyd was my pick as well. He has been sensational all year long. To me, he has really taken a lot of pressure off of Imanaga coming back.
Yep.
And I think the Cubs actually delayed Imanaga coming back because they didn't try to rush him back. You know, it was almost a full 2 months that he was out, and they were able to just keep winning games, mostly because you could just jot it down that Boyd was going to win his game. And a couple of other, strong starts from some other guys. That they are in a pretty nice position currently because Boyd he's a dog. He's been great.
A couple other good starts, not named Jameson Tyone.
Yeah, he's also hurt now too.
right. I did see that.
So my number 2 is actually Logan Webb.
Sure.
He made the list and not an honorable mention just because innings pitched. Up there with 40.1. Just continues to be super solid. I mean, the ERA is nothing like standout-ish, although, I mean, a 2.2 is nothing
correct.
to be
If he
shy
finishes
by.
the year with that, it's like, all right, well, sure.
Right, 100%. But for a guy that's a pretty big sinker baller, not pretty big, he's a sinker baller, 0.67 home run per 9 rate's really, really good. And again, a left on base of 84.7%. Still a 9.6 K per 9 rate. So just a really solid, really, really solid, good, make every start, 32 starts a year guy. What you got?
All right, number 1, I'm not even going to say stats. I'll leave that to you guys. We can talk about it all at the end, but it's going to be Zach Wheeler of Philly. I mean, just a ridiculous month, right?
Yeah.
Just, I mean, go for it.
The piece I'll hit, the ERA is a 0.58.
Right.
Like, not a 1.58, a 0.58 from a starting pitcher who made 5 starts.
Yeah.
Like, that is ridiculously low. He gave up 20 hits over 5 games, four hits a game. Like, I'll take that from basically any pitcher. 42 strikeouts.
Yeah. 2 earned runs. 2 earned runs in the month.
And one of them was a home run.
Yeah.
And like we spoke of, like, some guys, these are professional players. They are just going to run into a ball every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
If this number was 10 home runs, okay, that's different. But 1 home run and out of 2 earned runs.
It might even have been, I don't even know. It might have been a 2-run home run, and that's the only
also true.
Only 2 earned runs.
Also true. So I'll let you.
So Erod was my number. No, I'm just kidding. Zach.
I was really hoping he randomly hit some random guy.
Right.
I completely forgot about Zach Wheeler.
A starting pitcher with a whip of 0.87.
Right.
That's like elite reliever
Correct.
Yeah.
type stuff. Like what? What was also wild is the dude's got a 2-to-1 win-loss ratio. So it's like, how are you losing those starts? Come on now. 0.29 home run per 9. And the ERA is 0.5 and the FIP's 1.5. So he's gotten a little lucky, bailed out a little bit,
But still. Right.
90.2% left on base. It's disgusting.
Oh gosh.
And what's funny is
Can we have an ace like that?
Yeah. The Cardinals like destroyed him in May when we saw him.
Yeah.
Like we tacked him for like 5 or 6 runs.
Yes.
And I mean Nola for 9, but that was right before he.
That is like
That's before they got.
That's when they
figured it
realized,
out.
he's got an
Now,
issue.
could we do that right now?
No.
Not at all. But yeah, he's having a great season, and I think he's a lock for the Cy Young. Would you say? Is that too early to say? Like,
I don't know that he's a lock quite yet.
I mean,
Paul
he's pretty much
Skeens-
done this for most of the
Paul
season.
Skeens
Right.
did not exist, I would
Yeah,
probably
that-
agree with that.
Right.
But for what we've already said, Paul Skeens is so good
Yeah.
that he may
And
have
he's
8
really loved.
wins on the season and still be in very serious consideration
Right. Yeah.
because he's got like a 1.8 ERA.
Yeah, let's
or
say
something.
Wheeler just has a bad month in July, right? And Skeens just holds pat. Doesn't really do anything different.
Yeah.
I think he closes the gap tremendously in that regard as far as for the Cy Young consideration.
Yeah.
And so, and again, you already said it. He's loved. And I think MLB wants to promote him.
Oh, yeah.
It's just unfortunate that he's playing in Pittsburgh.
Correct.
Right.
Which
Probably not much longer.
I was going to say, does the MLB force their hand? Like behind scenes,
That'd be insane.
you're either going to pay him now or
Get out.
trade him to somebody. You're going to get a haul.
Yeah.
You're going to get a haul back
We
for
will
this
make
guy.
sure of that.
I mean, but it's the Pirates. They're not going to get a haul.
Oh, they will for him.
For Skeens,
Yeah.
especially with the control that he still has.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
you're going to get probably even a little bit higher because of being an elite starting pitcher than even what Soto got return-wise
Yeah.
from
I would agree.
the Padres to
Yeah.
the Nationals type of deal.
See, now that would be really fun is if he ended up getting traded to like Detroit or somebody that has some riches, in the minor league systems as well. It's like that 1-2 punch would just be my favorite thing. But also at the same time, it's like, well,
Devastating.
So the Tigers. Okay, so we'll do this obviously in the next couple of weeks, but the Tigers will be up. You know who my number one pick for him to go to is, and who can afford him? Boston.
probably.
yeah, they're going to have to give up.
Think about Skeens and Crochet.
Yeah, that
They should have
offense
kept
is gonna
Devers
be
around.
hurt.
That could have
Right.
made Pittsburgh go, ooh, maybe.
Maybe.
Right,
Right. They
right.
ain't paying Devers. So they're not taking that contract. No.
Right. All right, let's wrap it up. Let's do relievers really quick, and then rookies.
Yeah, so a couple honorable mentions, and then I'll name my reliever. I want to throw out Justin Robleski for LA. Tremendous month for him. Randy Rodriguez for the Giants, same thing. You guys go look at their numbers. Go to Fangraphs or MLB.com for their stats. They were on it. And then also for the Padres, Adrian Morjon with tremendous. I ended up landing, as funny as it sounds, on Pittsburgh's David
Yep.
Bednar just because of the saves. I mean, dude, didn't give up a run and locked it down. And Pittsburgh's been hot. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because they swept the
In
Cardinals.
a really weird way.
But yeah, I mean, they figured something out, at least for the last little bit here. Now, it's not going to last, but it's kind of fun to watch on some levels when it's not your team they're destroying.
right.
That's 100% accurate. No, I most of the guys you just named, exactly. It's Bednar for me as well. Guy, it's pretty special to watch guys go out for bad teams and produce the way that some of these guys have. Mostly, maybe they're pitching to try to get themselves out of a bad position. But at the same time, it has to be absolutely demoralizing. But also, every game he's going out there, it's like it's do or die.
Yeah, right.
Like our team's not scoring runs, so I have to lock this down right here.
Yep.
To give our team a chance. So
Right.
yeah, it's Bednar.
So I'll give a couple shout outs. So shout out Trevor McGill had a great
Yeah.
month. 8 saves, led in saves. Plays for Milwaukee, so he's just getting tons of run support all the time.
Ironically,
Dylan Lee, dude, no
Yeah.
runs.
Right.
Shout out to him. But yeah, Bednar is my pick too. Jason Adams was really close, but Bednar, no runs. 14.4 K per 9,
Yeah. That's where it just kind of sealed the deal.
0.7 whip.
And he's
Juicy
going to get
numbers for me.
traded. Like, he's
Think
another
so?
one. Yeah, he's gone. Because
I don't
there's
know,
too many
he feels
teams.
like one of those guys that the Pirates are just like, dude, we love you. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, but I think there are going to be too many callers because I
agree.
think ultimately at the end of the day, it hurts St. Louis in some retrospect because it devalues Helsley's value a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Because now he's performing. And
Yeah.
true.
And some teams are going to take a chance on him because
He's had a-
he's not going to cost as much.
True. But he's had 2 really bad seasons.
Right, but right now,
Yeah, I mean, true. Volatile.
right.
That's
And
true.
and
That's
with
a good point.
relievers too, I feel like they're the ones that teams are willing to overlook problems that have been in the past. When a guy is really hot for a
right.
year,
You just
it's like,
ride it out.
we're just
you
riding him.
need him.
Like we're riding him into the playoffs.
You
This
need
is
it for the stretch.
This is the one guy we need. It's not going to cost as much as Paul Skeens or one of these other types of guys. Okay, you need one prospect. Cool, we've got a million of them right now.
Yep.
I could totally see, Philly jumping in on that real quick and going, hey, we got a couple players here.
And their window's closing, so they're at the place where we gotta do something.
Philly's the team, I think, that if you're going to watch a huge splash happen, they're the team I think is going to make the big splash because their window is very tight right now.
Right.
Because even though their pitchers are elite, 2 of those 4 are getting up there in age.
Yeah.
And how much more do these guys actually have left in them?
Schwar's going to be gone. He's not going to stay after this year.
Real Minto as well.
Right. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. They're going to be all in, especially now that they're fighting and staying up towards the top of the East.
And they're benefiting from the fact the Braves are very injured and falling.
Yeah.
So
let's wrap it up with the rookies real quick.
All right. A couple shout outs. As funny as it is, I ended up going with a pitcher as the rookie of the month for me, but I wanted to give Gilberto Hernandez from Miami a shout out. Dude is just raking 358. Didn't play quite as many games, kind of came up a little bit, but I mean, still, 547 slug, 933 OPS, 386 on base. Also, Isaac Collins from Milwaukee, kind of doing similar things there in left field. Doesn't have quite the same average, but he's provided a spark from Milwaukee to keep them close to the Cubs. And then even Agustin Ramirez or Augustine Ramirez, I'm not sure which one he prefers.
yeah.
On that for Miami as well. Their catcher is really kind of doing some things down there for them. But I ended up settling on Jacob Mizorowski for Milwaukee and just what he did. I mean, I think it's kind of if Chase Burns would have come up a little bit sooner, I think there would have been a fight between the two of them for this month. But just what he was able to do. I mean, I know it's only 16 innings pitched, 3 games, but
might be a different story in July too,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch what happens as obviously hitters adjust, those type of things. But I mean, you talk about electric fastball, the arm slot is crazy, the slider, breaking ball, changeup, all of that off of that is just proven to be nearly unhittable.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it seems like Milwaukee just always has those dudes. Just irritates.
I was gonna say when we were doing the relief, I was just gonna be like, shout out to Milwaukee Brewers.
Honestly, they have like 2 or 3 guys that their names kind of popped up in the rookies. Gilberto Hernandez. He was not a guy I followed that much for the month, but then looking at his numbers, I was like, whoa, this kid had a really, really nice month. And then I'll call out 2 Milwaukee Brewers, unfortunately, is Isaac Collins and Caleb Durbin. Both those guys had very, very good months. I will say, Milwaukee seems to do this every single year. It's just like they're inevitable that they just kind of hang around and whatnot. But I did not expect them to bring up a couple of rookies and get this type of production, especially with my top rookie, Mizorowski. Pitching the way that kid
I just didn't see him coming up with the control issues he had shown. I just didn't see this.
No, and I don't know if they've got a vet in that pen to like kind of help coach him and stuff along the way, because he's got the type of stuff you look at and you're like, this is our ace of this staff. Because Freddie Peralta's not the guy you want coaching him up. No. But I will say it's really helping Freddie Peralta out big time off. Because now he doesn't have to be that guy. He's a guy who's had a lot of players run into balls over the year, but has some electric stuff. If you're talking those 2 in you get into a take 2 of 3s. I'd take those 2, feeling pretty confidently up against most teams. In that stretch. So Mizorowski, or however you pronounce that kid's name, but you
got it.
Yep.
At least I'm saying it that way.
The one crazy thing I'll point out on him is they talked about he was like 1 draft pick or something from falling and going to LSU and being on the same team as Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. And I was like, that was already one of the best college baseball teams I've ever seen.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
I had a hard time picking rookies, so I'll just follow along with you guys. Mizorowski kind of just stood out. When we watched that game in his debut, when he faced the Cardinals, it was just like, whoa. Yeah. And I remember seeing the first 3 pitches when he struck out Nootbaar. I was like, there's no way he can keep up that velo and do that. And
he did.
Sure enough. Yeah. And he kept the velo. And then I remember the most disgusting changeup I've ever seen in my life came out of his hands. And nobody was like, what? No, that's not a cutter. It read wrong on the TrackMan. And we were like, and the announcers were all like, what was that? Yeah. The movement on it was just gross. And he kind of seems like a kid. The way his frame is, the way his body is, it's going to work out.
Yeah. 0.63 whip. And then to even outdo that, 0.061 average against in 3 starts.
Yeah.
Like, again, 3 starts.
Yeah.
But, gosh.
And the thing, too, he had a no-hitter for his first 2 starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
He was hitless until his 3rd start. That's crazy. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Again, check us out on socials at WOFBB Podcast on YouTube and X and Twitter and stuff. So be on the lookout. This month is one of the most fun seasons of baseball, coming up to the trade deadline at the end of July. So we're going to do some top 5s for each division and each league. So be on the lookout for that. But thanks for listening this week. See you guys next week.